the biggest pain point that we heard from this month was that you have seen more buyers ghosting you than you'd expect. And so we are very excited to go through that one AI tool demo for this and give you a bit of context for both who to use it with and then what to say. So that's the update for where we are on the market data today. So big theme is there is more motion going on in the market and buyers have more leverage. Paige, you want to outline how buyers came back this last month?
Yeah, we've seen pending sales rise, which is a certainly great sign of future closings. So that is a very positive indicator. Single family sales were up, and we had a nice number of homes sold. What you're seeing, and we'll talk a little bit as we go through this, is because school is getting out and because school starts so early this year, most of us are going to go back to school August 10th that week. I don't know about you guys, but I don't know parents on this call who actually want to move into houses during the time they're trying to get their kids back to school. So you're seeing the buyer activity happen quite normally as it would typically do because you've got a shorter summer season.
That's a really big one because typically some of the worst week or 2 weeks of at any point during the year is when people go back to school in the early fall.
Mhm.
That is exactly right. Also, though, the reality is just like in Houston, it's not that hot yet. Hey, do you want to talk about what 4.9 months of inventory means from a balanced market perspective?
Yeah, we're sitting at, and guys, if you've been on these calls with us, you know the balanced market is somewhere between 5 and 6 months of inventory. What we have really seen though is when we're over 4 months, it feels to those sellers that it's a very slow and a buyer's market, and that's very fairly true. My biggest worry here is if 60 days on market, which is up from what we have typically seen, if you've got sellers that are just now getting on the market and school starts in August, you've got to get that sucker sold quickly or you're going to be looking at an October closing for them.
And the reason that that's so important to highlight, Paige, I'll double down on that, is with the AI tools that we have for you, is if you are using the AI tools to a market, whether it's luxury or whether it's buyers or sellers in the wrong way, it can backfire on you. And
That's
this
right.
is where we want to give you this context to know how to use the tools appropriately because you have an understanding of what's going on.
Yeah. And I want you guys on the call to start looking at June and July as the shoulder season, right? You know this in vacations, the shoulder season is the time between the high and the low season. Typically in our market, the low season is August and September for a multitude of reasons, schools, hurricanes, et cetera, et cetera. So your June and July market is your shoulder season, which means it's not as happening as the spring season. So having honest, candid conversations and using the tools effectively will help you allow your clients to have the results that they're looking for.
By the way, one really big thing here, this is a huge, huge item. Notice median prices are down. Again, if you rewind the clock back even 6 months ago, the expectation is that the market, broad market, would be up about 14% in volume and that house prices would increase. Again, NAR came back out and said, oops, guys, just kidding. Our math was wrong. 5 months later, not up 14%, but only up 4%. And also, oops, just kidding. We're not going to grow prices. We are expecting prices to decline. And what we've
which is
seen on a
really
year-over-year basis.
which is
Yeah.
really unusual because typically when you're looking at a downturn market, which we've been in, and you track that to 2008, the Great Recession, the Great Recession curve, the decline curve was about 4 years. We're in year 5 of a decline curve. So we're not out of the woods here, folks.
And we're going to get to a fundamental reason why in just a second. Other big item, and again, this is kind of a core story, things that you really want to put into context for both your business and how you talk and help your clients is right. Buyers, they have more choices. Payments are slightly lower, but fundamentally it's about choice. Sellers again, competition is up. Paige, you want to talk about how there is less room for mistakes?
Right. What happens in these times if the sellers choose aspirational pricing? the buyers typically don't act, right? The sellers are like, well, I'll just wait for a buyer. Surely a buyer will just make me an offer. If they think it's worth less, surely they'll just make me an offer. Emotionally, they just don't want to go through the turmoil of making an offer to be told that their offer is no good, even though that seller would likely see and come to terms with things. We are certainly seeing more negotiating power. So for buyers, if you're working with these buyers, encourage them to make the offer on what they think the house is worth, especially if sellers have been on the market for more than 60 days.
Paige, one word that you just used that I think might be helpful for the audience to go back to is you use the word aspirational pricing. If you think about that pyramid and you think about aspirational pricing, market-based pricing, and event-based pricing, will you just give a 20-second overview on how and what that looks like?
Yeah, so when we typically talk to our sellers, we the price is their decision, and it's our decision to decide if we're going to work with them or not. But the aspirational price is the price that is above what the market will bear. We typically would consider that to be overpriced, right? A market-based price is this is based on what the data is and the comps and the house next door just sold for blah. And an event-based pricing, which is typically the best strategy in a market like this, is to price under the competition so that buyers will see that this is an opportunity and you will end up with multiple offers to push that price back up to what market price is, right? If I listed my home for $1, I'm not going to get $1 for it. I'll have multiple offers and people will choose to push up the price to where they see the market to be. So in this kind of market, event-based pricing for people who need to be out, that's the strategy.
And what you see in most of the seller AI tools that we have for you, it is supporting how you are able to communicate that message to your sellers, which ultimately means sellers make more money when there's competition. You can only get competition when you are not only fairly priced, but you are typically priced right below fairly priced to get you, the seller, that leverage.
And remember, right, real estate is hyper local. So when we're having this conversation, we're talking about the overall market. We're not talking about necessarily what's happening in this specific neck of the woods.
And then the last part on the story is if you have been talking to real estate agents, whether again you had people on the other side of the deal for buyers or sellers, and those houses have been sitting, it is a great, great opportunity to reach back out to those agents to see if they or you can restart conversations with your clients.
That's
We've
exactly
seen that
right.
to be incredibly effective over the last 30 days.
That's exactly right.
Again, in terms of buyers having more room and more choices, again, active listings are up again another 6.5%.
Mhm.
That's again a big deal. And so buyers have more leverage. Paige, you want to just highlight again how and what buyers with more leverage are able to do?
Yeah, you're able to look at saying what are the right terms for your buyer, right? When you were in COVID, buyers had no choice. If they liked the house, they had to offer a gazillion dollars to over list and give the seller everything that they want. This is an opportunity for buyers to be able to sit back, make the right choices for them and their household, and actually get a deal. When I was in production, this type of environment and market I loved because when you have buyers, they are in control, and that feels really good.
The tool that we're going to go through in just a minute is how you again find get your buyers to stop ghosting you. The biggest thing and the biggest message is right off of this slide, which is you're communicating to the buyers that the world is different and that they have an opportunity to have more leverage than they did 90 days ago. And that in many cases will allow you to restart stalled conversations because you're communicating one, there's new data, and two, let me personalize it for you of why you should get back in conversation with me. For sellers, Paige, you want to talk about how sellers have less room to make mistakes?
Well, knowing that we've got school starting in August, and if they want to ride it down, the best thing they could do is overprice it, right? The challenge here is when you overprice in this market, you will sit on the market longer and you will get less than market value in the end. Because as prices, and we just showed the slide, as prices are starting to decrease, right? If I'm a seller and I'm selling in a decreasing market, I'd be better off selling here than selling here. And that's why the danger of overpricing coming into the shoulder season is real.
And especially on condition. we have seen again that not only it is the quality of the pictures, again, a lot you can do with that with AI for staging, virtual staging, and touch-ups, but the quality of that home matters because typically luxury buyers, the people with money right now, want things that are pretty and easy.
Well, that's exactly right. The hassle factor of working through repairs with contractors is real. There's no one on this call who would say, I enjoy calling out a contractor to fix something on my house and have to wait and do, and I can't come and it rains and blah, blah, blah. Having it move in ready and show ready is really key if your seller wants top dollar.
And the other thing for feedback, this is a great reason, again, to reach out to agents. We've seen some of our agents, especially Holly, consistently crush it on broker open houses that are delivering 40 to 50 people through a house. And that gives an unbelievable opportunity to have feedback and bring the feedback to the seller.
That's right.
Really, really helpful. Again, with more homes, again, more choice. That is, again, the big theme. Here's the other part about affordability. I'm going to highlight one other thing in a second. For many people, payments got slightly better, again, compared to where they were a year ago, about $100 a month on a $400,000 loan. Again, that probably this day and age with what's happened with gas prices, that basically covers the increase in gas prices per month. So it's not a huge amount, but it is slightly better.
But I'll tell you a story here. I went to see the new Star Wars movie, The Mandalorian, with my family, and we had two ices, two drinks, a thing of popcorn. My niece got a pizza, my brother got a pickle, and a box of Mike and Ike's, and it was $80.
It's a lot of money.
$80 for snacks at the movies. So this $100 lower month is helpful, but it just got taken up by snacks at the movies, right? So everything is more expensive. And that is a problem when we're looking at the pricing of homes sold. And you'll go to this here in just a second of what's moving and what's not.
It is. And again, to put that in context, you talked a lot about the K-shape economy. K-shape economy, again, just like a K, the top doing better, the bottom doing worse. But the real difference is the middle has become hollowed out. And the
Yep.
reason for that, again, lots of different factors, inflation, activity, concerns about AI job loss. But again, top has done better, bottom has done worse. What's interesting when you look at price tiers is that your bottom sectors or your lower sectors, sales volumes are up, but it is not typically driven because that segment of the economy is buying more houses. It is driven because there are more wealthy people and more institutions buying homes at that price point to rent out.
Yeah, and that is an overall problem, and we won't go down that path. But that is a challenge because this 250 to 499, that starter home and the starter home, that piece is critically important for long-term wealth for folks. And so, if the first-time home buyer is now 40, they are getting a very late start in developing generational wealth.
And again, in the middle, 500 to $1 million, sales are down, right? Volumes are down, prices are down. And in your luxury market, $1 million plus, sales are up, prices are up. And
Right.
so again, think about that K-shaped economy and think about both how to use the AI tools, but more importantly, how to guide clients well, because you understand that the markets are different. And that's just an easy hack to remember. The K, top better, bottom again is struggling, but the middle is really what's shrinking.
Yeah, and really getting squeezed. Those $80 trips to the movies is a problem.
Here's a good visual that I like a lot in terms of how to think about the affordability, especially for agents who have only been in the business for the last 5 to 7 years. Is right. If you look at the graph, homeownership affordability, you want the affordability index to be high. And the affordability index predominantly is two things. It's one, it's the cost of the home, and two, it's the cost of money. Because
Which
the
is
cost,
interest rates, right?
which is interest rates. That cost of money, again, typically paid over 30 years, it matters. And so up through about COVID, homes again were more affordable, kind of coming out of the Great Recession. Obviously, as the price of homes increased and the cost of money increased, the affordability problem has been down since about 2022, which is why many realtors have struggled because volumes of sales have gone down.
Mhm.
But look at what's been happening over the last 6 months, right, Paige? You see that?
Yeah, it's ticking upward, which is a good sign. That's why it's $100 cheaper to own a home than it was this time last year.
And prices are down a little. Again, it's not a huge difference compared to what we were experiencing before COVID, but it is moving in the right direction for many people. Again, other big things, again, takeaways of what to say agents, and then we're going to give you the AI tool hacks to be able to do it, is right. Your key message to buyers are you have more options now, right? Now is a great time to have conversations because you have more leverage. Page for sellers, right? You again hit the same drum beat.
Yeah, same drumbeat is look, shoulder season. You've got to get that pricing in a place where you are having showings. And if you're having showings and you're not getting offers, you're still too high. So the important piece is if they wait, the conversation you have to have is how do you feel if you are still spending your time with me in October or November? Right? I'm a lot of fun, but do you want to have this conversation with me every week until that time? Because if we're not getting showings or we're getting showings and no offers, we're not in the right bucket and we're in the shoulder season, and that is real.
And again, for number three, this is again the big thing is because typically for every outreach, you want to answer the question of why am I contacting you now? And so the reason that you can reach out to past clients and other people you've talked to is because you're like, the market has changed enough to revisit your plan. And
Right,
that is
if my plan as a seller was I'm gonna list it in July, is that really a good plan? Let's talk about the shoulder season and what's going on. If I'm a buyer and I'm like, well, I want to wait. Well, look, now we have more opportunities and options than we did. So it's beneficial for both, but you have to have the candid conversation about what market we're actually in.
phenomenal. And again, that goes into specifically a new toy with that new data that we're giving you today. And so, right, the question is when you think about any of the buyers that you've talked to, and I'm going to say in this case, over the last 18 months, right? So think about a potential buyer, who is not engaging with you now. Maybe you're sending emails, maybe you're sending texts, but they're not there. And the problem again is that they've gone quiet. You don't know why. You don't know if something's changed. You don't know if things are going on in their family. You don't know if they're just waiting. You don't know if they're searching around on Zillow and looking for something else. And so our goal is to give you one very, very simple fix. And
Yep.
that is a prompt that allows you to stand out from the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And so let me show you exactly how to use that and exactly what to do.
And Bob, can I add here as you're kind of working through this? When somebody ghosts you, don't assume malintent, right? If you're a parent and you're on this call and you were talking to, I don't know, a car salesperson because you need a new car because your kids have trashed out your Suburban, and you were talking to them in April, what is the likelihood that you're going to pull the trigger of going into a car dealership and dealing with that in May? Probably low, right? And so don't assume malintent. People just have lives and they get busy. It doesn't mean they don't want to. It just means I can't right now.
And here's the one other thing I'll say it obviously is it's graduation season is there have been a lot of graduation speakers that you probably have seen in the news that have talked about AI in the graduation speak to those kids coming out of school 21, 22, 23.
Yeah, we've been to two graduation ceremonies, and that was certainly the topic.
And the thing that's crazy is those speakers, when they talk about how people should be using AI, have recently gotten booed, right?
Wow.
So AI is
Food?
scary. Here's the mindset that we would give you around how to think about AI, right? So in many cases, people think that AI is this big bear. You don't need to be perfect.
That's right.
You don't need in that world of AI to use it 24/7 as well as a MIT PhD.
Mm-hmm.
But you do need to do it better than the agent you're competing against,
That's fair. Right.
right?
I need to do it well enough so that I don't have to be the fastest, but I just need to be the faster than the person behind me so the bear can eat the person behind me.
And so what we are going to go through today is a very, very, very simple message and a very simple tool to help you be slightly better than the agent who is not using AI. And so
Slightly
again,
better than the average bear.
slightly better than the average jogger. Okay, David, will you drop the link in so everybody is able
Yep,
to
it's
get
in.
that?
Yeah, David just dropped in the chat the link so everybody has this access. Whether you're part of the Real Edge Network or not, anyone can come and use these. We put these out for free tools to help agents be more effective with their jobs.
And they're updated with the data we just went through. And so again, we have on the seller side 4 different prompts that have all of the current data in them, how to start conversations, how to go through for sellers on the side where the listing is sitting. What we did last month is how to give a seller market update. What we're going to go today is on the buyer side, and we have 5 buyer prompts for you. The one that we're going to go through is this one in the top right, right? Is your buyer ghosting you? And so again, your big item is how to get people to re-engage. And we've tried to make this as simple and as effective as possible for you. So again, you go down, you go to the page, David just dropped it in. You say, yep, my buyer's ghosted me. I click copy. Great. I then go to your favorite AI tool. One of the ones that we have liked is Gamma. And the reason that we have liked Gamma as an app is it shows you exactly what it's doing while it's working. But Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini will do the same thing.
So same prompt, does not matter which AI tool you choose to use it with.
That's what we built it for. That's exactly right. One of the things, again, in terms of the prompt that you want to personalize. And so, again, as an example, right, your person's first name, Maria,
Sure.
my name, Bob Martin.
Yeah. So be sure to change the parentheses so that it's clear.
Yes. Bob at Houston Properties. Hopefully I can spell Bob at HoustonProperties.com. And the other thing I just copied in is I looked at 3 homes that I thought were appropriate to be able to show for this person, Maria.
Got it. So that would be something that where the agent would need to go in and say, here's the three things that are information that we need to pull.
It's exactly right. And the value of that, again, is you don't have to do a lot of work, but it personalizes it. The thing that is easy with Gamma is that you're able to go in and it improves the prompt quality for you. But again, you can use any of the different options. In this situation, you're like, I don't need a lot. I just need something that's very simple with this prompt because my main goal with this prompt is to create something that looks interesting enough and stands out from other real estate agents.
Okay.
And again, notice that my hands are not on the computer, right? It's doing it for
It's
you.
self-driving like your Tesla.
It's self-driving like the Tesla that I absolutely love. And so again, the prompt that we built in, it gives you an overview of what's going on with the market. It pulls information and pictures in the house. It puts it in for a call to action. And so again, when you think about it, again, really simple, really easy for you to do this with a couple people a week to try to get them to re-engage. And let me just show you quickly what Gamma allows you to do. And then one of the reasons, again, I think it's interesting is that you are able to create a little link for any of your clients. And then when they see it, it notifies you. So, right, you can send this out to a half a dozen people pretty easily. And then you can see when and how they're engaging. And so again, very, very, very simple. It is, again, just to get you better than the average runner to outrun the bear.
Right. Because you think about how long it would take any of us on this call to self-create this little website. I mean,
Right?
and the cost to do it.
This,
Not cheap, not easy for the average bear.
and again, most people set themselves up on Zillow searches or HAR searches or other searches, so they see properties. But what most people want to do is they want to know that another human being cares about them.
Right.
And so again, this shows a level of care. And again, it takes you less than 60 seconds, but it shows a level of care that most agents won't do. And
Right.
that's what we think is what AI allows you to do is that additional output that most people, again, that they won't go to.
That's
So,
exactly right. Because people are still craving and wanting a human relationship. And this, what you use AI to enhance those relationships.
the other thing, again, just to show you kind of exactly how you use this, and again, I'm gonna just go up here, copy the link because this is the link that I can send. Nice thing about being on a Mac is that you have the ability to send text messages directly. And let me use just a quick example of that with Paige.
Perfect.
Um, is you're able to go into your text messages and say, I want to send a text, and then be able to send it to somebody and say, hey, Paige, I was just thinking about you today, And I wanted to send over this little update with a custom presentation. It's just easy.
So essentially what you would do is you would just text me and you would
Yes.
say something like, "Hey Paige, I was just thinking about you." And I thought and drop the link.
Yes.
Easy. The
Easy.
other the other line that often we love when people are ghosting that may be engaging. Bob, what is the Chris Voss line?
Great Chris Voss line. The line is, have you given up on? And so if I text Paige, hey, have you given up on making a move this summer? People are more likely to respond to that. And
Mhm.
again, if you give them a little bit extra, something like this, they're more likely to believe that you care enough for them to re-engage in conversation with
Yep.
you.
If not, this might be interesting for you. Drop the link, and now it's something that's personalized that you did for them. That's pretty powerful. I mean, if somebody had sent that to me, I would have felt like, one, I'm going to engage and be honest with where I am. And two, I'm going to have an appreciation for the fact that somebody did some work.
Yes. The other things, just so you see that you have them there, the same type of prompts. If you are looking to start a conversation with someone and you don't know what to say, this puts in all the data that we talked about today. It acts as either a script coach for you or it gives you exactly the text messages to send. If you are walking into a meeting in 15 minutes and don't know what to say and want to be able to build a small presentation, here's a script that allows you to do that. If you want to, again, build your own full walkthrough of what a buyer consultation looks like, here is a very easy script for that. Again, it builds these slides in order. And also, if you want to put things out on your social media, here is a really good way for you to be able to create a 30-second video script using the data where you don't have to do any other research other than copy and put that in.
Because here's the wonderful secret about this. What we built here is all of the data is integrated. So in the prompts, when you go in, you don't have to figure out how many days on market or what the percentages are. We've already done that work for you. So that's the hard piece. And so that's easy for you to plug and play.
And the other part, the same thing with sellers. If you're going to go into a seller, and again, this is why you want to know the difference between the what the message is to buyers and the difference for sellers. It's how to start a conversation with the data presented that's most helpful for them and the big things to worry about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, last part for a wrap up. Again, feedback is fuel. We would love feedback from you on what is most helpful to show next month. Is it a listing is sitting and the seller is blaming you, not the price, and you want to know how to overcome that? How do you win the listing before you even walk in the door? How are you able to turn a listing into a full marketing package in 60 seconds? Or how do you get more seller leads from past clients? That's the AI tool that will make sure that we have ready for you, and we will give you a simple demo to go through that so you can put it in practice. Thank you so much for coming. We are right here exactly at 9:30. Congratulations and good luck on the closings today, and have a great weekend.
Bye, guys.